All right, let's hop into Week 15 predictions right now. He had no spice, Chase. Talk about the spice.
Yeah, he was just vanilla chalk. Everything, you expect, just so boring. He's like, oh, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're just so boring. Like, that's why we don't have you on the show anymore, you chump.
We're going to be talking a little bit of college football.
I don't want to see the same teams over and over again. And it really is dumb, contradicting, condescending, whatever word you want to use. The fact that the Big Ten made this rule change for Ohio State.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the WNP podcast. My name is Mike Mitchelson, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chase Crawshaw. Chase, how are we doing today?
I mean, I would say I'm doing pretty swell. If that's shocking to anybody, it shouldn't be, because I say that at the intro of every episode. But yeah, I mean, I really am kind of, we did a little bit of recording for Bulls broadcast before this as well. Said the same thing, but I'm gonna say it again. We had fun with an interview on that show, and then I'm looking outside, watching the snow come down, watching my neighbor's roof and back patio turn white. I'm excited. I mean, only 9 more days till Christmas, so maybe we'll get a little bit of Christmas snow.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so, because Christmas is not the same when it's a green Christmas. Like, honestly,
oh no,
I hate green Christmases, and people that like go down to Florida and stuff for Christmas, I don't understand how you do it, because I need a white Christmas always.
I'm gonna be honest. If I lived like say I get a job with the NHL team in Florida or Arizona, I think I would have a house in like the UP in Michigan just for like a fly back for Christmas for a week. Honestly,
yeah. I mean,
like I just need the snow.
Yeah, honestly, and thankfully we are getting some right now. Like you said, I'm actually gonna check the forecast right now, see if we have some more coming down here in the future. I really hope so. I'm back
for snow all day. Yep.
And then it looks like we're getting snow on Saturday and Wednesday. And Thursday is Christmas. So if we get it Wednesday, then we could wake up to a white Christmas. That would be absolutely excellent.
Isn't Friday Christmas?
I don't know. Dude. Okay. So I just wanted to say this. I remembered it as we were doing the Bulls broadcast show, and then I was going to do it as part of the intro, but I completely forgot about it until you just reminded me of that by laughing at me. So as of last week, that's when my classes ended at Michigan State, and I had a couple final essays to do, but I didn't have any final tests that were due at like any specific point. So since my classes ended, I have just completely lost track of all time and date, and I have a feeling it's only going to get worse as we move into Christmas break, because it's been like 4 or 5 days and I'm already clueless. Like, it's Wednesday today. Both of our podcasts need to be released by tomorrow. I got to have one to the Hockey Podcast Network by tonight, and I completely forgot about it. Like, when we were recording, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to edit tonight.
See, I'm someone, like, I remember my days usually pretty well. I mean, it happens to everybody here and there. What day is it? What day is tomorrow? Whatever. You forget. But even when I've got nothing going on, I remember my days pretty well. Especially like when I was recovering from my surgeries, I could do literally nothing but watch TV or play video games. But I mean, I still always knew, all right, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. It's just something I usually do pretty good with.
Yeah, I mean, when we had that COVID break from March until, I don't even know, like June, it was a terrible time. I mean, it did pick up because I had summer classes. I think they started in May. So like I got more awareness as we moved into summer classes, but I mean, when I've got nothing going on, when I don't have classes, when I don't have work or anything like that, I lose complete track of time, and it's not always a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not always a good thing, but I mean, sometimes, it's good to just get lost and kind of enjoy your free time, your downtime. It's good to have it while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chase. Well, today we are recording our last episode until the new year. I know everyone listening so shocked and sad about that news, but here's the thing: next Thursday is Christmas Eve. The Thursday following is New Year's Eve, And we got both of those days off for Bolts broadcast, so I made the executive decision that, hey, we're going to take those days off for WNP as well. We're going to enjoy the company of family and friends. So last episode until the new year, but being that it is the last episode until the new year, we've got a big one for you guys. We're going to be talking a little bit of college football, talking about that playoff scenario where a lot of people are angry right now. Why is Clemson in when they have a loss, when other teams are undefeated? Why aren't those undefeated teams in the playoffs? And we're also going to be taking a look at the NFL playoffs because we're getting close. It's week 15, and teams are really starting to make or break their playoff chances. So we're going to be talking about what teams we think are on the brink that could push into a playoff spot. And then finally, of course, we're ending it with our predictions. And Chase, you had a really good week. You actually took one over on me as you went 10-6, and I went 9-7.
Not too shabby. I mean, if I would have just, picked rationally for the first 13 weeks, then, we should be about, even right now. But I like to be spicy, as I've mentioned, probably 6 weeks in a row now. So here we are.
Okay, I'm going to go back, and I'll do it on the first episode of the new year. And I'll go back and look at all my spicy picks. Because, Guy, you ain't the only one picking spicy picks. I took Cincinnati over Dallas last week. That's the reason you won. Because I picked spicy.
But your spicy is like putting mustard on a sausage, where my spicy is just biting directly into a ghost pepper and then rubbing the juices on my eyes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Remember when my spiciness picked the Raiders to beat the Chiefs? I'm going to brag about that all season long.
Remember when my spiciness took Miami to win against, I don't remember who it was. I think it was like the 49ers in week 2 or something. And that was a game where Miami wasn't established as a good team yet.
It was not week 2. It was week 2 is when the 49ers all died against the Giants.
Well, let me go find it for you.
Or the Jets, whatever it was. But yeah, then they all died.
Miami versus Buffalo. We picked Jacksonville over Miami?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, because we both we came into the year we like Miami, but one more year and they'll be in that spot. It still might be some hiccups this year. Is kind of what we were thinking. And then Jacksonville, they won week 1 and looked great, and they still even looked solid in week 2. But they looked good for the first couple weeks of the season, really. But then they fell off really quick.
So I took the 1-3 Dolphins over the 49ers and won that one, while you took the 49ers because you weren't being spicy.
That's not even spicy. They didn't have freaking Bosa or Solomon Thomas. They probably didn't have Jimmy G in that game either. I was still let's go Niners.
The Dolphins were 1-3.
Okay, what do you freaking do?
Oh, but the Raiders, who have been a very good team this year, beating a Chiefs team that's trash, is spicy. Gotcha.
A very good team this year puts up 6 points against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Falcons? Huh, interesting.
Well, they suck now.
Didn't
you have the Raiders at number 3 in your power rankings?
No, 4.
All right, well, let's move on to the show. College football rankings first and foremost. Right now, as of the 4th college football selection committee rankings, that's a lot. Why can't we just simple it down a little bit? But as of December 15th, Alabama ranked number 1, Notre Dame 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4, even though they're only 5-0. Which I get the frustration there, too. Then you have Texas A&M at 5, Iowa State at 6, Florida at 7, Georgia at 8. And then you see the undefeated Cincinnati team at 9, the undefeated Coastal Carolina team at 12. So a lot of anger around the college football playoffs rankings when it comes to the selection committee. And I understand it because Clemson has a loss and Ohio State has only played 5 games. And the Big Ten came out and said that you have to have 6 games to compete in the Big Ten Championship, and then they decided, let's throw that out the window. Ohio State, welcome to the Big Ten Championship. So I understand the frustration. I understand fans of Cincinnati, fans of Coastal Carolina, and fans around the world who are just sick of the same teams over and over again. I understand their frustration and why they don't want this bullshit to continue.
I mean, when we did our top 4 for college, like our college football playoff rankings, whatever, 3-4 weeks ago, I had BYU in my top 4, and BYU, they lost, so it's kind of I can't put a team at that level there anymore. But I'm exactly with you. Is what I'm saying, that I don't want to see the same teams over and over again, and it really is dumb, contradicting, condescending, whatever word you want to use. The fact that the Big Ten made this rule change for Ohio State. But at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. They're gonna make this rule change for the team that's gonna get them in the college football playoffs, because the payout for the conference, like every team in the conference gets a payout from the NCAA if you have a team make the college football playoffs, or if you have 2 make it, whatever. So all the Big Ten teams are really, or not all of them, but a lot of them are supporting it because they want that money. You can't blame them. It's just gonna help their program out, so it makes sense. And honestly, Ohio State is a top 4 team, probably top 3 or 2, honestly, in the nation anyway, so they should be in. But it still makes me angry that, a team like Coastal Carolina or Cincinnati, who, in my opinion, the 4 best teams this year have been Alabama, of course, and then Cincinnati, Coastal Carolina, BYU. Sure, they play easier schedules, but they've pretty much dominated every game they've been in. Their team has just looked unreal, and I genuinely think that a Cincinnati or Coastal Carolina would not get completely destroyed. If they played Alabama, it might not be close, because Alabama, I think they're just going to run away with the national championship anyway. But I think they could be in a game with all those other teams, personally.
Yeah, and I think that's the big argument right now. You look at who do you think the best teams are? What games do you think are going to be the most competitive? And I would say it's the 4 teams that they currently have in the playoffs right now. However, Coastal Carolina, if you're looking at overall season record, does season matter, stuff like that, Coastal Carolina beat BYU when BYU was a top 10 team and they're undefeated. So they had that big win as well as being undefeated. So why shouldn't they get a spot, And the argument for Cincinnati is that they have no top 25 victories, even though they're undefeated. Well, Georgia doesn't have any top 25 victories either, and they have 2 losses. So why is Georgia over Cincinnati? But
yeah, it's garbage.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. I really want to know what your guys' thoughts are. So if you are listening on YouTube, please put in the comments what you guys think of the College Football Selection Committee rankings, as well as if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to tweet at us at WNP Sports Pod what your thoughts are on that, because there's 2 lines of thinking, and it's what's going to be the most competitive, and games don't really matter. And then there's the season absolutely matters. That should be the first and foremost. If a team's going to go undefeated and have top 25 victories, they should be in the playoffs. There's 2 lines of thinking. Yep. This is where I think that the college football playoffs need to be expanded to either 6 or 8 teams, because then you can put in a Coastal Carolina, and if they get absolutely destroyed, that's fine, because you still have your 4 top teams.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it should be extended. And I was reading something, and I agreed 100% with this point. The one person who was reading, I can't credit them because it was on Twitter. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but they said, why even have the College Football Playoff Committee? Why not extend it to 8 teams and just take the top 8 BCS teams? Wouldn't you there's no agenda with BCS rankings compared to college football playoffs where that committee has a clear agenda. Just take the top 8 from the BCS and let them do a playoffs.
That'd be interesting. Not bad, but me, I am a fan of, and I think I mentioned it on the show before, take the conference championship winners of the Big 5 conferences and then put in the next 3 best teams. So you'll have someone from every Big 5 conference, and then you can throw in a Coastal Carolina, a Cincinnati, as they're not a part of the Big 5, and then throw in another team too. Maybe another SEC team, depending on how good those teams are. But I think that would work out. I also think just even a 6-team expansion would be nice, because then you could throw in Coastal Carolina and Cincinnati and have your top 4, and then Alabama and Notre Dame can have a bye. So I don't know.
Something needs to be done.
Yeah, something definitely needs to be done there, and there needs to be an expansion. And this week, there's actually going to be a lot of good football, a lot of good college football, as the conference championship games will be played. Ohio State versus Northwestern, that's not going to be close because Michigan State beat Northwestern.
Yeah, somehow.
Well, Michigan State's the best. They almost beat Penn State, but then they choked so hard in the late third, early fourth. And then we also have Notre Dame versus Clemson in the ACC championship. We saw this game earlier. It was a really good game, but DJ Ugalele or Owegalele was in at quarterback. They're going to have Clemson's going to have Trevor Lawrence this time. Number 2 versus number 3 team. That could shake some things up. I wonder how that's going to affect the rankings, the college football playoff rankings. Do you see any change, though, depending on a team winning or losing?
I really don't, though. Like, this is my thing with the college football playoff committee. Like, I think they're really set on having these 4 teams in. So even if something crazy were to happen, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only way that something would change would be for Notre Dame to absolutely punish Clemson. Clemson has 1 loss right now. If you put in a 2-loss Clemson in the college football playoffs, there's going to be even more of an uproar than there is already. But that'll be a fun game to watch for sure, because it'll definitely be the most exciting game out there, because Ohio State, Notre Dame, or Ohio State, Northwestern, not as exciting. The SEC championship game, it should be exciting, but I think Alabama's going to roll Florida, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so too, but it really would be crazy if Florida came out and won that game.
Yeah, and we were mentioning earlier that Florida, they just got their 2nd loss. So if an 8-2 team beat Alabama, who's 10-1, how does that shake things up? I mean, Florida right now, they're ranked number 7 in the college football rankings, even after their 2nd loss. So maybe they sneak in if they beat Alabama. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of hope it happens now, just so we can see what happens.
It'd be interesting. Kyle Pitts going to have a big day. Love that dude.
260 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Sounds good to me. Then we got the Big 12 Conference Championship as number 7 Iowa State versus number 11 Oklahoma. And I honestly didn't think Oklahoma was going to make it here after they started so poorly. But they finished with a 7-2 record going in the conference championship game. And I think they can beat this Iowa State team too.
I think they can as well. As you mentioned, Oklahoma started horrible. Spencer Rattler could not get it figured out, but then he did figure it out, and the team completely changed directions. They look really good. I honestly, if I was putting money on this game, I would probably pick Oklahoma to win. I just think they honestly are the better team in this matchup.
Yeah, and then the Pac-12 championship, number 15 USC, who is currently undefeated, goes against Oregon, who's only 3-2.
Yeah, this game is going to be weird. I think USC should win this one handily. Like, I watched USC UCLA. That game was just up and down roller coaster. USC almost blew that game like 4 times. That was probably the game of the year for me in all of football. I enjoyed that more than anything I've watched all season. Keaton Slovis is the man. Like, he really is just a really, really damn good quarterback, a first-round pick type of talent, and he has great receivers playing for him too. So I really hope that USC team wins, and I mean, they're not sneaking into the college football playoffs, but I'd be cool to see them go undefeated, come in next season with a good ranking.
Yeah, and we had some awesome games this weekend with, obviously, the USC-UCLA game you talked about, but also let's talk about that Browns-Ravens game. That thing was electric, probably the best NFL game of the year so far.
Yeah, I mean, like, wow, when Lamar Jackson went to the locker room to take his poop and you thought everything was just done and over with for the Ravens. And then he's like, I just lost 3 pounds. I'm going to chuck this bomb to Marquise Brown for a 45-yard touchdown to clutch the game. It was insanity. And the funniest thing is the spread was 4 points and a safety rate at the end of the game made it a 5-point difference. So, like, those people that, that took that under, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And that touchdown from Lamar Jackson to Marquise Brown, it ended a lot of people's fantasy dreams, including our good friend Chris Brown. what a terrible way to go out. You see Lamar Jackson go off the field with the runs, and you're like, all right, cool, I got this locked up. He comes back, just chucks a deep ball to Marquise Brown, goes all the way, and right then and there, that play loses you the first round of playoffs. How unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, Paul really had the best situation there. He is like, all right, I need Lamar Jackson and Kareem Hunt to kind of go off, and they both went right off. I mean, like it looked like he had no chance to win that matchup, honestly, and then he beat him by like 10 points.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Chase, well, let's also hop back into college football. The last conference championship game I want to talk about, the AAC, just because it could have some big intangibles coming for Cincinnati as they're 8-0. They're versus number 24 Tulsa, who's 6-1. If they absolutely blow this Tulsa team out, there's going to be even more uproar to put them in the college football championship, college football playoffs. However, I don't know if that'll be enough, honestly.
It probably won't be enough, but they are going to steamroll this Tulsa team. I honestly think. I truly think the Cincinnati team has a good roster. Like I love what they've got going there. Hopefully they can, like this year, it's not going to be it, but maybe they can, finish the season undefeated, continue to develop their roster. I don't know what their recruiting class is looking like. I mean, they've got a good young QB at the helm, so a summer for him to develop coming next year and maybe push that team over the edge. That'd be super awesome. I would say with BYU, Zach Wilson leaving, they're probably out of that topic, like a discussion next year. But I mean, Coastal Carolina, Cincinnati, these two teams are probably the best chance at a group of 5 school making the playoffs anytime soon, because next year they should have pretty similar rosters, and I don't know what the recruiting classes are like, as I said, but their young quarterbacks should just be developing further and be ready to go.
And Chase, let's do a prediction here on what you see playing out for the college football playoffs after these conference championship games. Who do you see at 1, 2, 3, and 4?
So I think the top 4 stays the same teams that are in it. I think Bama's 1. I think Clemson's going to win this game, so Clemson's going to jump up to 2. Ohio State will jump up to 3 at that point, and then that'll put Notre Dame at 4. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had the same exact thinking there. Well, since we got the same exact predictions for the top 4, why don't we predict that top 4? So you'd have Alabama against Notre Dame. You're taking?
Bama, easy.
I would as well. And then Clemson, Notre Dame, a rematch of last year when they faced off in the college football playoffs.
Clemson, Ohio State, you mean?
Yeah, Clemson, Ohio State. What'd I say?
You said Clemson, Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, my bad.
You're good. But yeah, that one would be a little more interesting. And that one I think could be actually a really good game. I might go Ohio State, honestly.
That's a game that I want to happen, honestly. Just because it's the final year for both Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. They came in the same recruiting class. They were from the same state of Georgia. They have always had this connection, this rivalry type of deal. So that would be an awesome way to end their college careers, is going up against one another. And I'll go the opposite. I'll go Trevor Lawrence. I'll go Sunshine. I'll go Touchdown Jesus over Justin Fields. But definitely a game to watch if that were to take place. And then you got Ohio State, Alabama. You are taking.
I think that Devontae Smith will finish off his Heisman winning season with a national championship.
Devontae Smith winning the Heisman. Very, very interesting. I mean, he's definitely in that race right now. So possible. And with Jalen Waddle out, Mac Jones obviously favoring Devontae Smith. I'm excited for the college football playoffs because we're going to have great games. I just wish that we had some more variety, but I think I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence capping off his Heisman winning season over Alabama.
That'd be cool. I mean, whoever wins the Heisman, I kind of want them to just like win the national championship too, just because it's just a cool combination to have. And the Devontae Smith one, it's kind of more of a hot take than anything. I think I saw PFF. They had them ranked as him ranked as the number 1 for the Heisman odds. And I if you're gonna give it to a receiver, like at any point, I mean, he's probably one of the guys that deserves it the most out of anyone we've seen in a while. He's really just doing remarkable things since Judy and Ruggs left for the NFL. He's really just kind of taken over the helm as the best receiver in college football this year, especially with Jamar Chase out. So I have no issue giving the Heisman to him. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah, and I think this year just really cements Alabama as wide receiver U. I mean,
Yep.
you had Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, the two guys we saw drafted this year, Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. Then we're going to have two more first rounders in the next year with
Calvin Ridley,
Jalen
too.
Waddle and Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley. It's just nonstop. They are definitely wide receiver U. And then Ohio State, who we think are also going to be in the playoffs, DBU. So I don't know. A lot of good college teams, but we want some variety, as we mentioned. We want to see the college football playoffs expand. Let us know what you guys think in the comments of the YouTube video or tweet at us. Chase, let's now move on to the NFL playoffs. Currently, in the NFC, you have Green Bay as the number 1 seed, getting them a bye. Then you have the Saints, the Rams, the football team, all getting home field advantage, with the Seahawks, Bucks, and Cardinals all being the wild cards. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, and your favorite Detroit Lions all in the hunt. However, Detroit only 5-8, whereas the Bears and the Vikings are 6-7. Do you see either of those teams moving up and taking the spot of the Arizona Cardinals or maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think the only chance anything happens is that the Vikings get in over somebody. That's the only possibility. But I think that things end up finishing out this. I think this top 7 is the way it finishes out.
And do you think Washington wins the NFC East, or do you think that the Giants or the newly led Eagles are going to be able to jump the football team?
No, I think Washington might actually finish 9-7. I wouldn't put that out of the I wouldn't make that impossible at all, because they've really been trending. I think they have a chance to beat the Seahawks this week. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I really don't think it's impossible. So I think they could finish 8-8, 9-7.
That'd be interesting, especially because a lot of us thought this team could be one of the worst in the league coming into this season. But all right, well, that makes sense. I'm actually in the same boat as you. I don't think that there's really any change that's going to be coming. And if there is, it's going to be Minnesota for Arizona. But I agree. I'm going to keep Arizona there for right now. But AFC, that's where we get a little bit more spicy, because as of right now, Kansas City, they have to bye. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and the Tennessee Titans have home field advantage. Cleveland, Indianapolis, and the Miami Dolphins all are the wild cards, with the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders just outside looking in. Do you think there's going to be any changes here? And let's also mention any changes that could be happening as a team getting home field advantage, or maybe Pittsburgh jumps Kansas City to get a bye.
Yeah, I think Kansas City ends up finishing with the bye. I think that's kind of a lock at this point. The Steelers, they're going to win this week against the Bengals, but they're kind of trending towards that way of, they might get another loss or two, even maybe here in the season. So I think the Chiefs are going to probably finish 14-2, 15-1. So they should lock that up. And then in terms of who else is going to make it, I wanna say the Dolphins stay in and the Ravens stay out. But if the Ravens are getting in, that means the Dolphins are falling out. And the Ravens have an easy matchup against the Jags, where the Dolphins are playing the Patriots. And who knows how that game could go. That could be all over the place. So I'm going to predict that the Ravens get in, though, over the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and you were talking about the Steelers. The Steelers are fraudulent. I think that's what you were trying to get at, because this team is not a top team in the league, and I love Colin Cowherd so much. He put out on Twitter a video of him just laughing at Steelers fans, just being like, "I told you, this team's good, but they're not elite," and that's exactly what it is. And I mean, we called it in week 4 when we did our power rankings. The Steelers were undefeated, and I didn't have them in my top 10. I think you had them just on the brink at number 10. We said there's something about this team that just doesn't really add up. Like, they're good, but they're not an elite team. That's why we had them so low / didn't have them in our power rankings at all. We knew from the start this team was a fraud, and it's really starting to show now with back-to-back losses. One against the football team, one against the Bills. Bills, a very good team, but when the Bills go up against really good competition like the Tennessee Titans, they struggle a little bit. They didn't really struggle against the Steelers.
No, they did not. And like when you look at the Steelers' wins, they aren't impressive wins. They are playing injured teams, depleted teams, playing easy matchups. So like, sure, they're wins at the NFL. At the end of the day, a win is a win, but they're easy wins. So when you get to the playoffs, you're not really gonna be able to do much. So the Steelers team is definitely big time fraudulent. We're both in the same boat there. And as I mentioned, I would not be surprised to see him drop one or two more.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm going to agree with you, Chase. I don't think the Dolphins make the playoffs. I think the Ravens are going to get in, and that's because Week 15, they've got the Jags. Week 16, they got the Giants. Week 17, they got the Bengals. They're not going to drop a game for the rest of the season. And this is another team that I think is, I don't want to say fraudulent because not everyone's saying they're the best team, but a team that coming into the season I thought could have been one of the best teams in the league. They've really underperformed. However, I think they are going to finish 11-5 because of the schedule that's coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of shocking if they didn't. Maybe the Giants are like, you know, they're playing a little better recently. Maybe they can squeak out a win, but like it's still even a stretch. It'd be really shocking if they don't win out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, Chase, let's talk about the first pick in the NFL draft. Is that going to stay with the Jets, or the Jets going to go 0-16?
Who are they going to be? Like, I don't even know who they play the rest of the season, but like they're clearly just far beyond the worst team in the league. I can't imagine them getting a win. I really can't. So like they got to go 0-16.
Yeah, this is their schedule for the rest of the season. They got the Rams in LA, they've got the Browns at home, and then they travel to Foxborough to verse the Patriots.
Oh my Lord. Maybe they can have a close one with the Patriots, but they're getting destroyed by those other two teams.
So, unfortunate, because I know you wanted the Lions and the Browns to be the only 0-16 teams, but it seems like since the Browns, like every team's trying to hop on that. We saw the Bengals try to hop on that last year when I think they were like 0-13 at one point. But
yep.
Yeah, another 0-16 team added, most likely. And then who knows, maybe the Bengals can lose out and the Jags can get another win or two so that the Bengals get the second overall pick. That'd be really cool.
Just so they can trade it down to third, get an extra pick in there, then grab Penny Sewell and someone else.
Exactly. Smart man. Kyle Pitts.
There you go.
Penny Sewell and Kyle Pitts.
Oh, yeah. I did say he was falling to the third round.
Yeah, that's true. But Chase, let's now move into our predictions. And our Week 13 predictions, I mentioned a little bit earlier on. You did best me by one. So, I didn't put the overall record in. I can do that real quick. So, Chase, your overall record is now 117 and 90. Not bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Not bad. 117 and 90. And then my overall record is 125 and 82. No.
Okay, yeah.
125 and... No, I think it is 82, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I had to do quick maths. It didn't work out very well. But, yeah, we had a pretty nice week overall last week, as you went 10-6. I went 9-7. John Dowell, who has been on the show a couple of times, he tried talking some smack and doing some predictions, and he actually got most of his right. He went 9-5. And he didn't predict all of them, in case you couldn't tell by the record. But he went, like, he had no spice, Chase. Talk about the spice.
Yeah, he was just vanilla chalk. Everything, you expect, just so boring. He's like, oh, they're going to win. They're going to win. Just so boring. Like, that's why we don't have you on the show anymore, you chump.
Exactly. All right, let's hop into Week 15 predictions right now. First up, the LA Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Who are you taking?
This one could be interesting. I actually think that the Chargers might have a chance in this one, with the Raiders' defense being so atrocious and Herbert being fantastic. But I'm still going to go with the Raiders because Anthony Lynn is just horrible coach. Yeah, I agree here. I'm going Las Vegas as well. And if you don't mind, I already filled out your next two as well. I've got you taking Buffalo over Denver and Green Bay over Carolina. Yep.
I'm doing the exact same. This week is kind of a toss-up. Not really a lot of good games this week, especially when we're looking back at last week where they had so many good games. This week's going to be kind of an easy one to predict. But next up, we got Indy versus Houston. I would assume you're taking Indianapolis, but I didn't want to write it down yet.
Yeah, I'm going to take Indy. I think it could be an okay game because the D-Watts has really been kind of carrying the team for the Texans recently. So I think he can continue to do that, but it's just going to be a little too much against the Colts.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have the Detroit Lions versus Derrick Henry in December. This should be an easy win for the Lions.
Yeah, definitely. If this game was outside, I would predict Derrick Henry running for 300 yards. But since it's inside, that might be a little too much. But this should be a very easy win for the Titans. I imagine a quick pass attack, probably a passing touchdown or two to start the game, then just run it out from there.
Yeah, and it seems like Matt Stafford might not be available for this game. His what is it? Appearance, I guess. His appearance in this game is questionable. So
availability for the game.
Availability, that works too. So we'll have to see, but yeah, it should be an easy Tennessee win. Then we got Chicago at Minnesota. These two teams are facing off to really stay alive in this playoff race as they're both 6-7. They want to make that push to the playoffs. Who are you taking?
I gotta go Minnesota in this one. I mean the Bears, they're really just not good. They held their own against the Texans because the Texans' defense is atrocious as well, but the Vikings, and I know their defense isn't great, but they've been playing better, and the Vikings offense really just clicks. Devin Cook is a beast. The receivers are unreal, so I got to go Vikings.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one as well. Seattle at Washington.
So, as I said, this game could be an interesting one. I don't think Washington is completely, removed, out of the realm of winning this game. The Seahawks, they've slowed down a bit. Russ isn't cooking quite as much. He's just cooking, fettuccine Alfredo instead of these 5-star meals, with the four dishes, 4 entree, or 4 course. That's the word I'm looking for. So, he's just making you a nice family dinner instead, which is still good. Don't get me wrong, but it's been disappointment to the Tyler Lockett owners, aka me. He's done really just kind of nothing the last 6-7 weeks. But I'm gonna go with the Seahawks anyway in this one. It'll be closer than some people think. I personally think, but the Seahawks offense is just gonna be enough where the Washington offense can't get jack done, especially if Alex Smith doesn't play.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Seattle as well because, I mean, going back to Dwayne Haskins after you benched him, obviously the relationship is soured there. He wasn't great this past weekend either when he came in for relief of Alex Smith. So going Seattle as well. Next up, New England at Miami. Brian Flores versus his old teacher. There we go.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one because the Patriots just look really bad. Cam Newton can't throw the ball. He is probably the ugliest passer I've ever seen at quarterback this year. He was always an ugly passer, but he was good enough, accurate enough where he could get the job done. He's just not that anymore. He really has to run the ball in order to have that offense even doing anything. And I just feel like the Dolphins are going to game plan enough to kind of suppress that, and the Dolphins should be able to come out with a win here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Dolphins as well. I think Brian Flores is going to prove himself to be the better coach. No, I'm not going to go that far. Bill Belichick's already the GOAT when it comes to coaching. But Brian Flores, very bright future. Same with Miami as they get the victory. Next up, Jacksonville at Baltimore.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Tampa Bay at Atlanta.
Oh, that was funny. So, doesn't sound like Julio's playing, so why the hell would I pick Atlanta? Last week, we picked Atlanta. Why the hell did we do that? I knew Julio wasn't playing, and I still picked Atlanta. I'm an idiot. I deserve that wrong choice in that one. It's going to be the Bucs, and the Falcons aren't going to do much.
Why did we choose Atlanta? Because Anthony Lynn is a terrible coach. That's why.
Yeah, but they didn't have Julio.
They had Calvin, and they had Laquan Treadwell. He's coming back from the dead.
Have you seen what they do without Julio? It's horrible. Matt Ryan is like the worst quarterback in the league without Julio.
But have you seen Laquan Treadwell and how elite he is?
Yeah, that's fair. He was a first-round pick.
I was going to pick him up in Dynasty.
Oh, God.
And then I saw him get the touchdown. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty nice touchdown. I'm going to go pick him up. And then I forgot until yesterday. And when I went and looked, he had 1 reception for 7 yards and a touchdown. I'm like, Okay, so he doesn't get any uses whatsoever. He just got a fluke touchdown. I'm not going to pick this dude up.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Calm down.
He's so bad.
Elite.
He should not even be on an NFL roster. He's horrible.
Yo, what happened to that draft class? Are you kidding me? First wide receiver taken, Corey Coleman. Where's he now?
Oh,
exactly.
My Lord. Is he anywhere?
No. Second wide receiver taken was Laquan Treadwell. Terrible. Third wide receiver taken, Josh Doxson. Who?
Hey, let's go. Josh Doxson, baby.
And then the only serviceable wide receiver to come out of the first round of that draft class was Will Fuller. And he's good, but that's only when he's on PEDs and when he's not injured.
Rip.
All right, Chase, let's continue to move on through our predictions here. San Francisco at Dallas. Andy Dalton, big win last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, his former team. Is he going to get another win here against San Francisco?
Yes, I do think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a really ugly game. You still got Nick Mullins in at QB for the Niners. Mostert was just irrelevant last week. I don't think much is going to change. I just don't think this 49ers offense can click enough. And I know the Cowboys offense isn't going to really click either. But I don't know. I just feel like Andy Dalton's going to throw a touchdown pass where Nick Mullins doesn't throw one. I think that's like it's going to be that kind of deciding factor, just that kind of awfulness.
Damn, very interesting. So this may be a close game, but it's just a brutal game overall. I'm going to go San Francisco, though, just because I got an update that Zeke Elliott is currently questionable. So if Zeke Elliott's not playing...
I think I dropped Tony Pollard in ESPN. I think I gotta go pick him up.
Oh, no. Yeah, Zeke Elliott currently questionable. At least that's the update I got this morning when I woke up. But Philadelphia at Arizona, I was honestly thinking about going Jalen Hurts. And, you know, the former Oklahoma quarterback beating the other former Oklahoma quarterback in Kyler Murray. But I decided to eventually go with Arizona.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna go Arizona as well. I can't choose the Eagles in this one. I just can't do it.
Yeah, and then New York Jets at LA Rams. We already predicted that 10 minutes ago when we said the Jets were going to go 0-16. So next, Kansas City at New Orleans. Probably the best game that's going to take place this weekend, at least in my opinion. It could get out of hand because New Orleans has looked shaky a couple of times this season, but a game where you got a 12-1 team and a 10-3 team, you expect there to be some good action.
Yeah, I think it should be entertaining, but I do think the Chiefs are going to come out with winning this. I think that there shouldn't be too much for the Saints defense. Like, this offense is unlike an offense that you ever really see in the NFL. They're just so dynamic, so powerful. Mahomes is just unreal at what he does. They're not going to be able to contain him enough.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, Cleveland at the New York Giants. This is your Sunday night football game. Chase, are you taking the New York Football Giants?
No, I can't. Okay. I can't do that. I just can't do it. The Browns they looked pretty good in that game against the Ravens. Baker actually looked pretty solid. Like, that's a good defense, so it kind of restores faith in some like the Baker or the Browns hopefuls, whatever the hell you want to call yourself. But I think the Browns are gonna be able to squeeze out this, not squeeze out, but come out with this win. Should be a good game for Chubb and Hunt yet again. Yeah,
I agree here. And Nick Chubb, he might be the best running back in the league right now. At least in my opinion. He is dominant. He's got the highest yards per carry, only after Kyler Murray. If he wasn't injured, he'd probably be up there with Derrick Henry when it comes to rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. If Kareem Hunt wasn't there, he'd probably lead the league in rushing yards every year healthy, honestly. It takes away from it, but he is legit talent. Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't a bad week for Davey to have both of them, as I think they put up a combined 55 points or something like that. But you already had too big of a lead that Davey could not come back from that. Yep, a tough bounce, Davey. All right, and then finally our Monday night football game. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals in Paul Brown Stadium. Who are you taking? I'm not choosing the Bengals, that's for sure. Even though the Steelers are kind of a joke. Like that, the Bengals just have nothing going for them right now. It's got to be the Steelers. Oh, this is going to be an easy win for the Bengals. Pittsburgh, biggest fraud team in the league right now. The Bengals are going to come out, put up 23 points on them, and beat the Steelers 23-17. Easy win. All right. I mean, if that happens, I'll give you a nickel. How's that sound?
And for people listening going, oh my gosh, Mike has lost his damn mind. Chase, he said that. He said, I bet you won't take the Bengals earlier on in the day. So, I'm going to go against it. So I'll take the Bengals. I mean, if I lose or if the Bengals lose, I'm actually winning because I want them to lose so that they can get Penny Sewell. So, I mean, I'm down for anything. So, Chase, only differences we have are San Francisco and Dallas, and then Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. So I should go 2-0 in those.
Yeah.
Sounds good. But that is it for the episode, guys. I want to thank you for coming out and giving us a listen. If you want to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. We also have an Instagram and a Facebook group. Those links will be down in the description if you would like to join those as well. And then if you guys would hit that like button, click subscribe, hit the bell to turn on notifications, and let us know your comments on this episode, guys. We really want to know what your guys' thoughts are when it comes to the college football playoffs as well as this year's NFL playoffs. We will not be releasing another episode until the new year, so unfortunately, the college football playoffs will be over by then. But if you guys want to talk about the college football playoffs with us, we're active on Twitter. You can hit us up there. We'll reach out, and we can have some fun stuff going on. But that's it for the episode, guys. We want to thank you for coming out and giving us a listen. And as always, we're not professionals.